Actors ask me that all the time. Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
And I'm looking for the actor that's not acting. I'm looking for the actor that just brings in the character where I'm like, wow, that's it. That's what I read.
When you are looking at auditions, because I've looked at thousands and you've looked at thousands too.
Sure.
What are some of the things that you recognize and see and that you want to see in a strong audition?
I even love when they bring in something that I didn't read. Like I pictured it one way, and then they come in with something that's so real, so genuine, so authentic, so provocative that I'm like, wow, like they nailed it, and they made me understand the character better than I understood it.
There's certain actors where like their DNA seems to like fuse with the DNA of the character.
Sure, yeah.
And it's rare that you find like, oh, like this character is yours, you know?
I really did the wrong thing. I started calling people who I knew who were great actors and saying, hey, read this, put this on tape, because I was like, this person's great, this person's great, this person's great, but none of them nailed it. And then just one of the auditions that you sent me, you casted this project.
Wow.
Somebody came in and they understood the character on every level.
Yeah.
And so it's just, it's their life experiences. The part was for them. It's their part.
Yeah. So many actors come up to me saying, hey, how do I do this? How do I become an actor? Did you watch my audition? And they want to get information from me, but I'm like, they really need to know you. Today's guest is a powerhouse, a writer, director, producer, and educator, Mr. Mark E. Swinton. Woo! All right. All right, welcome to the Act Up podcast, where we interview industry professionals who act down. My name is Rhavynn Drummer, and I am your host today. Before we jump into this amazing episode and this incredible guest, please make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, and share so you can be the first to find out about all the new and upcoming episodes that we have. All right. This is so special. All right. Today's guest is a powerhouse, a writer, director, producer, and educator, Mr. Mark E. Swinton. Woo! All right. From his roots at Syracuse University to teaching in the classroom to producing hit stage plays and working on major film and television projects, Mark has built a career that is inspiring and that is as inspiring as it is versatile. What I love about Mark is that he's not just about the spotlight, but he's about the craft, the discipline, and the standard of excellence. If you've ever worked on one of his productions, you know you better come prepared because he does not play when it comes to professionalism, all right? In this conversation, we're going to talk about Mark's early dreams, the hustle of creating his own work, and what makes a great producer or director. And also how he balances artistry and the business of entertainment. And of course, what's next for him. So grab your notebook because this episode is packed with lessons, gems, and stories that you do not want to miss. All right, let's get into it with Mr. Mark E. Swinton.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of you. This is incredible.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Yeah. So Mark used to be my boss, and I want to say, because so many actors come up to me saying, hey, how do I do this? How do I become an actor? Did you watch my audition? And they want to get information from me, but I'm like, they really need to know you. And I mean by that is that you're the one, we don't actually decide who we're going to select for the project.
Sure.
You do. So we're going to talk about your early life, but I want to start and just jump into when you are looking at auditions, because I've looked at thousands and you've looked at thousands too.
Sure.
What are some of the things that you recognize and see and that you want to see in a strong audition?
By the time an actor auditions, I've already know the story. I've read the script. So I'm looking for that character to come in the door.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to say because actors ask me that all the time. Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
And I'm looking for the actor that's not acting. I'm looking for the actor that just brings in the character where I'm like, wow, that's it. That's what I read. I even love when they bring in something that I didn't read. I pictured it one way, and then they come in with something that's so real, so genuine, so authentic, so provocative that I'm like, wow, like they nailed it, and they made me understand the character better than I understood it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm looking for, which
That's
that's a hard thing to kind of nail down, but just the person who brings it in, who brings the character in.
That's so good. Sometimes it's like there's certain actors where like their DNA seems to like fuse with the DNA of the character.
Sure, yeah.
And it's rare that you find like, oh, like this character is yours, you know? And it's nice when, as a casting director and producer, like you see that, you find it, and then have a platform to cultivate it as well.
Absolutely. And it happens all the time. There is a project that I was looking for, and I knew this one character. I had to find somebody great. So I really did the wrong thing. I started calling people who I knew who were great actors and saying, hey, read this, put this on tape, because I was like, this person's great, this person's great, this person's great, but none of them nailed it. And then just one of the auditions that you sent me, you casted this project.
Wow.
Somebody came in and they understood the character on every level.
Yeah.
And so it's just, it's their life experiences. The part was for them. It's their part.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to go from the beginning.
All right.
So let's talk about you as a student at Syracuse. What was your major, and what were your goals back when you were a student?
I think when I was a student, I was crazy, didn't know anything. I started out as an electrical engineering major.
Really?
Because back, I don't want to date myself, but back then, when you were in school and you did well in school, if you were in AP classes or whatever, they always pushed you into math and science.
Yeah.
Like if you were ever noted as gifted, you were put in all these math and science classes. So somehow I ended up in Syracuse studying electrical engineering, and I hated it. And luckily, it was one of my friends in my dorm who I was just like, man, you building a model? Like, what's that for? And he was like, I'm an architecture major. And I was like, man, that's cool. And he said, man, you like everybody's major but your own. And everybody was laughing like, yeah, you always think. And I hated my major. So that's when I said, I got to find out what I want to do. So I went undeclared, and then somehow landed in a TV film studio and a theater, with classes. And then the rest of my 3 years, the other 3 years I spent completely either on a stage or a TV studio.
Now, how'd you get from Syracuse to LA?
I knew by the time I graduated that I wanted to work in the entertainment industry full time, but I was poor, didn't have any way to get to LA, and ended up, to be honest with you, saw this poster for Teach for America, and they were placing people in LA. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that and get to LA. Of course, I ended up teaching for a while, and that ended up being its own thing, which was a great thing, and I'm glad I did it because it's I grew up, learned a lot, but that's how I got to LA, and then I stayed. Yeah.
Nice. Now, how long were you teaching?
I taught for about 10 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
Wow.
8 to 10 years, somewhere in there, yeah.
Now, what about being a teacher has helped you as a creator, producer today?
Well, in the community, I taught in South Central and first in Compton, and in those communities, the young people are incredible, and I feel like I learned a lot, and they're strong, and I taught a population of people that had been through everything. Every social ill plague in society kind of came to head in that community. And so you learn a lot about life, love, the human experience. And so I just feel like I grew up there. I feel like, I taught theater and film, but I learned a lot of lessons too, just about life and people. And it's fueled and informed my writing, my directing, my acting. So it ended up being a blessing in a lot of ways. Yeah.
And some of the students that you taught have gone on to do incredible things.
A lot of them on TV.
Yeah. Can you talk about some of the students that were taught by you?
Eva, who
Eva Marcel.
Eva Marcel, who's on. She was my high school student, and London Brown, who he was on Ballers. Now he's on the spinoff, the Ghost spinoff.
Wow.
And it's a number of people. A lot of people who are dancers or writers, even people who are. And a student of mine, James Jones III, who is actually if you go to a major concert of like a Beyonce or a Coldplay or something, he's back there doing the lights, and just a number of people in front of the camera and behind the camera who are still doing it today.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You seem to be that spark and catalyst for people to go on and do great things.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Like we just were there trying to do the work, and a lot of people got a lot out of it, which is great. I don't even think it was about me. It was just about for people to have an avenue to express themselves, or express the talents that God gave them, and it just was a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk theater, because I love theater. I know that you love theater. Is there a play or musical that you can just watch over and over again, love it every time?
There is, and I it's funny because being African American, I feel like I'm supposed to say African American.
You don't have to, yeah.
But I've seen Phantom of the Opera, which is going to surprise people. A million. I just got back from London and saw it again.
Really?
I've seen that the most because it's just one of the first shows that I saw where I was just like blown away.
Yeah.
And so it's just it being one of the first ones that blew me away. I've always gone back to see it. It was on Broadway for, 30
Forever.
years.
Yeah.
And then it left. And so now you got to go to London if you want to see it.
Yeah.
But so I've seen that the most. But I mean, I see everything.
Yeah. Specifically with Phantom, Vegas did a production.
They did.
Phantom. Did you see that?
I saw it. It was a one production with no intermission. It was a whole.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal, and of course, because it's Vegas, like the technicality of it was like the chandelier was. Yeah. I wish if they ever bring that production back, it was phenomenal.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
It's always incredible to me, but the Vegas one was a little bit.
Yeah, it was
the same show, but just a little different.
Yeah,
a little enhanced. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's one. I saw the New York one as well. So, if you could direct any theater piece, what would it be?
It would actually be a show I wrote called "What's Going On."
Oh, okay.
It was an original story set to the music of Marvin Gaye.
Oh, wow.
And we did it several times in LA. And so I love all the show. I would love to direct a lot of shows, but since to answer your question, that's the one that I'd probably love to mount again and get up. Yeah.
Oh, this is the perfect segue because I don't know if people know that, you are a writer, producer, but you have lots of theater that you've done and produced, and a lot that you did in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So what were those early days like? What I mean by that is like, did you get an investor or were you the investor? Like, what was your process of casting and producing and getting it up?
Yeah, I did have investors. There were some people who were just saints who just came out of nowhere. They would come see a show that I would do and would support me, tooth and nail. And so there was a committee of people that supported Marquis Swinton Productions and helped me raise money for them and get because it was a grind. I was broke, but I had mentors. Ralph Farquhar, incredible TV producer, TV and film producer. He was the one who created Moesha, South Central. He was executive producer of Married with Children for the years, but he was an incredible producer who came to see my work and then was supportive of me. Stan Lathan, same thing. Who directed everything. Any kind of black sitcom that's been a hit that you would think of. Stan Lathan has done it along with Def Comedy Jam, Def Poetry Jam, and so on and so forth. And Cedric the Entertainer came to a show and like really supported me day in and day out. Invested, all these people would bring their friends in and invested money, time. Ralph would have me working on scripts and he mentored me about writing. So a lot of people who really did look out for me back then. And
am I correct? When you were in LA, did you work on Proud Family?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
wow. Yeah. What was one of your roles on that?
Oh, I was a writer.
Nice.
Ralph Farquhar, the person I just mentioned. So he really gave me my first professional job, if you will, in the TV film industry. He had been seeing my theater shows, and he hired me to write on The Proud Family.
Wow.
So I got to write, and that was a great experience. And so, that cartoon, yeah.
So I want to talk about divine collisions.
Yeah.
And I know being in LA is its own magnet for just kind of bumping and running into people.
Sure.
But how did you find a Ralph Farquhar, Stan Lathan? Like, how did you meet them?
Actually through teaching. I was doing these big productions at the high school, and before I knew it, Hollywood was coming out to see them. So it was always a big deal when I was doing a show. And so all these people that I would meet, and ironically, because I had no way to meet them, that's the thing, when you're young in this business and you're trying to meet people, you don't have a way to do it. And my way was this: I was just doing these shows. And there's a saying, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And so, of course, the first shows, nobody was in the audience. And then by the time I've been doing shows for a while, either professional shows with actors in town or with young people, everybody would be there. So literally, by the time I stopped, there'd be Jamie Foxx, Halle Berry. Literally everybody would be there.
Wow.
To see the shows. Yeah.
What a tribute to you! Like, as a high school teacher, you had the who's who of Hollywood coming to see your production.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
And it makes sense knowing who you are too, Mark.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. We did. You know how I am as a director.
We about to go into it.
So we did some great stuff. Yeah.
So this was 2012. I was 26. That's 13 years ago. So I had the pleasure of I had the pleasure of casting You Don't Know Me, which is a musical that you did based off of the album of City High.
Yeah.
And I also was the assistant stage director.
I thought you were the stage manager.
Stage manager. Assistant stage manager. Yes, okay. I think Tony Roan, was it Tony? Somebody thinks Tony was the stage manager. I feel like
you were the stage manager and somebody else was your assistant manager. I could be wrong.
I don't remember. Okay, but it was a long time ago.
Okay, yeah.
But that was one of the most incredible projects that I had the pleasure of working on. Just to one, the actual piece is phenomenal. Is there a way people can see that or find it? Because it's a good piece.
I got to remount all those pieces. That's one of the things I think, like in my next chapter, I need to get all these shows that I've written, which is a lot of them, out of my file cabinet.
Yeah.
And I got to mount them. Yeah.
So I want to talk about You Don't Know Me because it was such a great experience for me. And then watching you as a director was great. You are specific, you are direct, you can be a little tough, but you pull out greatness from everybody. And that's not just the actors and the dancers, it's from the crew. And I want to know, if an actor is preparing for a Mark E. Swinton production, if they are cast, what do they need to come into? Like, what is the mindset? What is the energy? How do they need to prepare to work with you?
Well, that's a great question. I think that, as what you said, as long as everybody is dedicated to excellence, then we're good. If you come in knowing your craft and knowing and ready to work hard and go through that process of discovery with me, which is what you do in theater. You spend that 6 to 8 weeks discovering the story, discovering each character, and so if you're dedicated to your craft and studied, then I think you just come in ready to work. You're ready to work. Yeah.
Do not be late. Do not be late. I remember you would make us, like, if anyone was late, it'd be like a minute late. It'd be like, close the doors.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm that bad now, but in the early days, especially where I worked, it was just like I saw lateness destroy so many productions early on. Not destroy, but it would take so long to get started. Everybody had a reason, and so at some point it was just like no lateness. Like if you're late, don't come in.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden everybody stopped being late.
Yeah. And there we go. And that was the solution
it just wasn't a thing. Yeah.
Wow. Were there any mistakes that you feel like you made in your early career, especially as you were birthing projects and doing theater? Any mistakes that you now look back on and wish you would have changed?
I'm sure it's a million of them. I think that, as I look back, I say to myself now, like, wow, I was rough on people. Wow. I mean, I was doing what people had done to me, because I was trained in New York, so it's just a different level of training. But I feel like, wow, in this day and age, you can never train people like that. Like everybody is a lot more, you have to watch how you say everything to everybody. So I feel like it would be, but I think early on, I'm sure I made a lot of mistakes and just, but that's, I think the journey that we're all on, you get, that's what experience is. You don't know what you don't know, and you go through it, and you the next production you do this better or do that better.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was a lot of mistakes that I'm sure that I made and that I thought better of, and that hopefully, not only as a writer, a director, a producer, a person, that hopefully I'm better today than I was then. Yeah.
How do you handle the feedback and possible rejection of it all? What I mean by that is, for someone who has written and produced their own work, there's always the one, will they like this? Two, will they show up? Is anyone actually going to see my work? And that's if it's in film, television, or theater. So you mentioned some of the early days, nobody was coming to the plays. How do you do that and still keep doing that?
One thing, I luckily for me, when I finish a project, I give it my all. And when I finish it, I feel like I've always been proud of what came out. And then I think that it always built, even if there wasn't a big audience. There's something interesting in theater, you'll know what kind of show you have, because there is still a thing called word of mouth. And so even if there wasn't a big crowd the first night, I would always see the second night it doubled. So somebody had said something and said, hey, you got to get down there and see this. Yeah. So it, but as far as I love feedback, I love notes. Not everybody can say that, but that's the joy. That's what I got from studying. If you go to a school for theater, you're going to get notes from everybody. There's a teacher, a director, you're going to get notes. And so now, even as a writer or director, I want notes, and I even know that there are a lot of actors, well, not a lot of actors, maybe I don't get the chance to work with as many of them, because I really do try to choose actors who are studied and who are really dedicated to it. But I have had actors who, especially if I'm, doing a community theater type thing, who aren't used to notes, who don't like notes. And so, but I always say, not to get too intellectual or studied, but, method acting came from Konstantin Stanislavski, right?
Yes.
So anybody who does acting these days, you might have, learned Stella Adler or Sanford Meisner, but all of them were taught by Lee Strasberg, who was taught by Stanislavski. So in that, one of the things that he teaches in the beginning was you have to learn to love, understand, and love the truth. And that is something that I would always try to teach. You have to really want the truth, and the truth can be cruel. It can be, but that's the only thing that can let you grow. Yeah. And so, and that's just, it's so funny, because when you first, the reason that I think, what's that show? American Idol became so successful when it first aired, that first season, and there were people singing who thought they could sing. Yeah. And you were like, wait, do they really think they could sing? And they thought that they could sing, because everybody around them lied to them and told them they could sing. Yeah. So they're on this national TV show, and it was Simon who was, for the first time in their life, telling them the truth. Yeah. And that's what made that show a hit. Yeah. Because but as an artist, you need that.
You do. Yeah. Yeah. So you've had the pleasure of working with veteran studied actors.
Sure.
What is the difference between a veteran or studied actor versus somebody who is intermediate or on their way up? What are some of the tools that you've seen from veteran actors? Wow.
I think that with sometimes the up and coming actors are going to be the veteran actors. So a lot of times, for me, I would say just working with a great actor is just always a great, the amount of creativity and where you can go with it is exponential. Yeah. Instead of just, you having to tell the actor everything. Yeah. When you are dealing with a studied actor who's a veteran, you can have a real conversation. They you can really discover the gold in the piece. And I don't feel like you can do that with people who don't know what they're doing, who haven't even taken it serious enough to study. Like, I guess the best way for me to explain it is I can be having a hard time with an actor and trying to get what I need out of that actor. And say the line is something like, you know what, Daryl, you're always putting me down, and I hate that you're always putting me down, and you've never cared anything for me. And also, what do you now have this baby, and you act like you don't even care, you know? And so, like, say the person's saying a line, and I'm like, okay, and it's not working, you know? So I go over there as a director and say, okay, well, what's going on in this scene? And, you know, the new actor's going to say, well, you know, she's tired of the fact that he's always putting her down, and this baby's coming. And so she is like, you know, worried about those two things. Like, I hate that shit.
Yeah.
I like somebody who tells me what's not on the page.
Yes.
It's not about what the line was. So you haven't even done the work to know what it's what's not on the page that I need you to act. So when I talk to the veteran actor, you know, I say, hey, what's going on with this? You know, they're the ones that's going to say, you know, even though we don't find out that she has cancer to act to, this is all about the cancer. She's not feeling well. I feel like she's already knowing something's going on in her body. She's not feeling well, and she's taking it out on Daryl. But, you know, I like those conversations with an actor who knows the story behind the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever want to act?
I started out acting. That's what I did.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
I was in LA acting. That's what I was teaching at Compton High School, and had an agent, and was you know, I'd be in class third period, and then you know, my agent would call, you got an audition? I'm like, oh dang. Hey Bill, can you cover my third period class? And I would run, you know, drive all the way from Compton to Hollywood, change in the car. Then by that time, third period was up, and they're like, hey, man, you got to get back here. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be back in a minute. And I don't even know how I never got caught, never got fired. But yeah, I used to act while I was trying to teach. Yeah, it didn't go together too well. That's why you should be a waiter.
Yeah. Did you like auditioning?
I wasn't good at auditioning.
Really?
I think I was a very good actor, but I don't think I was good at as good at auditioning. But I think I was doing too much. You know, you as an actor, when I was in that time, like, you really have to study. It takes a lot of work, and I think that, you know, teaching all day and directing plays all evening, and still trying to, I got to audition, and taking a second to it really, I needed to have focus there.
It dilutes the acting process when it needs all of it.
It needs all of it. Yeah. So I think I was just that. I think about my young years, and I was like, wow, I was just all over the place. Yeah. So you have to, like, center it. Yeah.
Do you ever miss performing as an actor?
I have been so busy writing and directing, but probably sometimes, like, I just did my show that you casted, Route 187, a 4-episode pilot, and I acted in that, you know. So there's a part of people watching it. Wait a minute, you know. So, but it was a lot of fun. I thought back to, wow, this was a good time. So I'm gonna have to do that some more often. Yeah.
Let's talk about you as a writer. So I know that everybody has their own ritual and routine. Do you have that for yourself? Like, do you have to be in a certain place? Do you have to have everything quiet, or do you like noise? So, like, what tools do you use when you sit down in front of your computer to write?
If it is what I prefer, then, like, because I am absolutely that way. And I know that some people think that that's just so much, but I'm somebody who, I do need to be inspired, you know. And so I ironically have gone to Seattle many times to write. I don't know what it is about Seattle, but my muse shows up there. I like to write in New York, you know. I like rain. When it's rainy, I really have that's as a matter of fact, my assistants, there was so many days, weekends that I have to write something, and I would say to them, I was like, is it raining anywhere this weekend? They would already, or I would say, hey, I want to write this weekend, and they would already know, well, it's going to be raining in this city, in this city, in this city, you know, because that does, like, that's a thing, you know, wherever your muse shows up. Now, when you get into the, you know, like being in the Tyler Perry world, where I'd have to write a whole bunch real fast, then, you know, that goes out the door. You just got to sit down wherever there's a closest computer and just, so I've learned to be more disciplined and get stuff out. But definitely when I'm writing, what I prefer, the process I would prefer is definitely having everything, the rainy day, the fireplace going, all the stuff that makes me feel creative. Yeah.
Understood. So you are a writer and a director and a producer. Which role challenges you the most?
I think that they all do. And I sometimes I almost hate to say that I do all those things, which I know sounds crazy because I think that not everybody does all those things.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like to say, I'm a writer and a director, but they're all different crafts, But, and so I remember thinking like there was, and even a lot of my mentors, and I would say, hey, do you do this? And they're like, Mark, I'm a director. That's what I do. I don't do anything else, and it's good to be good at what you do. But I did kind of find that, I discovered that I really do have a talent for writing and I really do have a talent for directing, that it wasn't an ego thing, that they're two different crafts. And so because they're two totally different crafts, they challenge me in different ways. Because I do feel like I can write something and then I feel like I have to put it away or take it out with the director's hat. And I feel like I have to rewrite it as a director because what I wrote, even though I wrote it and I'm familiar with the story, the approach as a director is so different.
Yeah.
And then the approach, because there are people who direct theater and that's what they do.
Yeah.
And there are people who direct for camera, sitcoms.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. And then there are people who direct single camera. Each one of those is a different way of telling a story, and each one of those is distinctly different. And so depending on what I'm directing it for or writing it for, it's it's so different, so that they all challenge me almost equally, but they do challenge me. Yeah.
Do you have one that brings you the most joy?
Probably directing theater. Brings me the most joy. That's something I would probably do for free. And Tyler says that I'm gonna be an old man in New York, limping down the block in a turtleneck to the theater to direct something. But probably will be, that's what I enjoy doing.
Yeah. I found that there is a satisfaction that comes with theater that doesn't quite translate the same in film. Like there's something about the process of rehearsing, staying with a project for, as you mentioned, 6 to 8 weeks, doing the performance. And then when you leave it, it almost feels like there's grief of having to say goodbye.
Absolutely.
To it.
There's nothing like it. Now, people who didn't start in theater don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I have some friends who are like, man, theater's played out. And I'm like, and then that pisses me off. I'm like, okay, I'm not even gonna start a conversation, but
we start the conversation. Yes. But there is something.
It's when you get to put that amount of time into telling a story, you really get to bring it to life. And the tragedy of so much of television and film, I think, artistically, is how fast we have to go. And of course, that's just a product of the economics of it. Like it has to get into, you got to get in the can, you got to get in the can at certain. So it doesn't allow for that time, unless you on a $100 million production and you have a director like a Martin Scorsese who will be able to demand, a lot of rehearsal time. But for the most part in TV and film, you don't get that.
How do you navigate the business versus the creative aspect? Because I know that there's a lot of times where I'm sure you've had to make creative compromises for the sake of the budget or the business. So how do you navigate that?
I don't know that I navigate it well. Like, I think that some people are like I am an artist. And so I'm always wanting to get the most I can artistically out of something. But, I have had to grow up. In one sense, I don't know if that's the right word or not, but realize that like, hey, there's a budget, and like you got to get it in the can. And so, we shoot really quickly. And, and so came from the world in, when we were doing Proud Family, and I worked for UPN. I wrote for a show called Second Time Around. And we used to do an episode every 5 days. And I remember being stressed trying to get that sitcom episode done, with all of us. I was a writer, but between the directors and the producers, trying to get an episode in the can in 5 days. And that model still exists in Hollywood. At Tyler Perry Studios, I had to do 3 episodes in 1 day. And I didn't even think it was possible. And and I did. We did that. So it's
And when you say 3 episodes in 1 day, you don't mean just writing. You mean actually filming.
Oh, I'm talking about the filming. The filming. No, not writing. The filming of it. And here's what I will say about that too is that, like, obviously for those of us who've worked at Tyler Perry Studios for a length of time, you have learned that there is a lot of fat in the Hollywood system that could be trimmed. And you do learn that you can, and listen, like when it can be done. I used to think that it couldn't be done, but it can be done, and it gets done. And so but I think that also that is what you have to learn to do if you want to be a working writer and director. You can stay, at home like, I'm never gonna do this or do that, but then you'll be at home. Like you have to get in whatever the machine is. Different studios work different ways, and you gotta kind of roll with the program.
I don't know if you feel like this. I feel like in working at Tyler Perry Studios, because we were pushed to produce, get so much out. I'm like, I can do anything. like I feel like any ball that someone throws at me, I'm like, I know I'm competent enough to be able to do it and produce it and throw it back. Have you felt that way from? Absolutely.
Like Tyler, absolutely. He worked so hard, and is, because the head is working so hard, then and it's just nonstop. You either have to meet the expectation or not.
Right.
And so you end up doing that. But yes, definitely after working that way, yes, you feel like you can do anything.
Yes. So having worked together, I know how hard Mark E. Swinton works. Oof. I know the countless hours, the text at 5 a.m. in the morning, like, let's roll, So what are some of the greatest benefits that you've found from all the work that you've done? And what are some of the sacrifices that you've made as well?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that, obviously, like, of course, I've said how much I love theater, but I will say too that television and film, the economics of television and film award you a different quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
That theater can't award you. So definitely working in entertainment and being able to take care of yourself, and like we said earlier, like I'm able to go to London to see Phantom of the Opera. There is absolutely from working that hard, the benefits of that. You're able to take care of yourself and take care of the people that you love, which is what we all, would hope to do. The sacrifice, there are a lot of sacrifices, so that is the thing that I think that now I'm learning to, because you can sacrifice building home, building a family, building, you can, there are a lot of personal sacrifices. So you have to learn how to juggle that. You have to learn how to, and that's not always easy to do. That's why I'm so happy, that you are a mom, that you figured that out, because so many, we've worked with so many men and women
that
who never got to figure it out, so the fact that I'm really proud of that, and happy for you. But I think that that's the hard thing, to juggle your own personal life and still being present, when you work at any studio, I'm sure, like, because even when I worked, whatever, for Stan Lathan or Ralph Farquhar, it's demanding, and so to be there and present and prepared every day, and still be taking care of yourself, it's a difficult thing. Yeah.
What does self-care look like for you?
Well, now it's and I went kicking and screaming, I think, but now it is it's getting up early. I get up at 4 a.m.
Wow.
Because that's the only time I gotta get up to get to the gym. So I'm gonna get up, do all my hygiene stuff, get to the gym, pay my bills, spend some time in prayer. I just have a whole morning thing that I've learned that I have to do. And then when I'm in the car on my way to work, everybody else gets to have at it for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But I've learned that before I leave the house, I gotta get all my stuff together, or it's gonna be chaos. Because when I come home, I need everything, clean, perfect, and I've always been that way.
Okay, got you.
Even when I was a high school teacher, like I would leave the house, and the apartment had to be spotless, and I would act like I had a maid.
Wow.
Because I was like, I want to see.
And now you do, Mark.
I wanted to feel like somebody had come in and cleaned the whole house, and but it's something about coming home to order. There's a book I read. I can't remember the name of it, but the premise of the book is this. He's a guy who was either an admiral or a major in the armed services, the Navy, I think. But he was saying the key to life is to make your bed every morning.
Yes.
And he went through the whole book is about that. Literally starting your day. And it's not okay to come home and the bed's not made and the house is crazy.
Yeah.
You should come home because that ends up being what your life is like, in some respect. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about the industry shifts as well, because you've been in this industry for a long time. You've gone from LA, you've worked in LA, Atlanta, and New York, which are basically the major hubs.
Yeah.
So what shifts have you seen, and are you nervous about the current climate in that so many productions are not filming in Atlanta or LA? So many things are going overseas. There's so much talk about AI. Do you have any concerns about how the industry is shifting? I am naturally have always been that kind of person who worries and thinks about those things. But it's interesting where I am right now in my life with everything that, just is life be lifing. And life, you can only control what you can control. And I know that it's probably a saying that's been out for a while, but it seems like I've just heard it over the last couple of years. You can only control what you can control. Yeah.
And so, I think that all of that's going to do what it does, but that's one reason why, I pray every day.
Yeah.
Whatever it is for you that centers you, and that for me is praying every day, and God will have to do the rest. I do what I can do.
Yeah.
And God will have to do the rest, you know. And luckily for me, He does.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes. You've been working in Atlanta for a long time?
Yeah.
Where has Atlanta gotten it right, and where do we have some more work to do?
Wow. I think Atlanta has gotten it right because this industry landed here at a time where a lot of people who were new got a chance.
Yeah.
In LA, it was much, much harder to get up at bat, if you will.
Yes.
And Atlanta was so fresh that actors like in LA, even to get the small part, you got to go through audition after audition after callback. And in Atlanta, there was so much work, and people got their shot. You know, I think that Atlanta has had to catch up with just the training and having people who are, I think that we had more production than we had people who were skilled at those spots
roles,
for a while. So there were a lot of times on set, and I can remember specifically, like there was a time when everybody, Tyler was shooting and I was shooting. So all the crew was within.
Yes.
So then I found myself a lot of times training crew because I was getting frustrated, and our COO at the time said, "Hey, Mark, stop! Like hell, you were a teacher, so they don't know. So you yes, you're the director, but put on your teacher cap and so. But it was stuff that I was like, I'm not supposed to be teaching a crew how to do this and this and this. But I was like, okay. Once he said that, I said, okay, wow, I'm in Atlanta, and and this was some years ago. I mean, I'm sure that more industry professionals have moved here now. But at the time, there just was so much production. And at the time, Marvel was shooting here too. So everybody had gone to shoot for Marvel and all these other places. Some of the other productions, we were really having a hard time with skilled professionals. And we had to just adjust. So
is there a memorable audition like that you can think of like, wow, that person really knocked it out of the park?
Yeah, the one I was just talking about earlier.
Okay, and what project? Do you mind me telling what project was it for you?
It was for Route 187.
Okay, gotcha.
It was for my show.
Yeah, and
it's a very, very quirky newspaper reporter.
Yeah,
really quirky, nerdy guy who's really eccentric, and it was on the page, but it was like if you were going to act it, it was going to look acted.
Yeah.
And that was just the audition where I was just like, wow, am I ever going to find this person? And an actor named Chris Livingston, who had worked a lot in theater, but he came in and just knocked it out the park. I was just like, where did this guy come from? But it's just one of the best auditions I've ever seen. Yeah. And then also, that's the one I would think, yeah.
Gotcha. One of the things I do miss is like, I loved the callbacks we had some of the most epic callbacks. I talk about this. I don't know if you remember this, but there's one time, it was New Year's Day, and we were filming the Have and Have Nots, and they were like, so we're going to have a callback in 2 days in LA. I don't know if you remember this at all.
I don't, but it sounds like something I would have called you and said.
Yes, we need to get 10, 20 actors here. But it was amazing just to see how, not just, as crew, but also how actors showed up for those moments. We had many, many, many of those.
Yeah, and a lot of that was also my theater background.
Yeah.
Because, in theater, when we do callbacks, you get everybody who might be in any of the lead characters in a room, and, you keep putting the different, you play the mama, you play the, and then
mix and match.
And you match and you're like, okay, all 20 of y'all can go home, and then by the time you are at the end of the audition, you got your cast. But that's a theater thing, not as much a TV and film thing.
Yeah. What's the boldest risk you've ever taken in your career?
Wow, so a great question too. The boldest risk. I think it's maybe whenever I bet on me, whenever I branch out and I'm gonna do one of my projects, put money into one of my projects. I think it might even be Route 187.
Yeah. So what is next for you?
Knowing that I really like being an artist, I'm excited to write and direct some great projects. I want to really do a great film. I think that what's in my spirit right now is just like, I have done a lot of theater, but I do want to do a film. And thinking about this, of course, I don't know. Sylvester Stallone wrote, I think, Rocky, and John Singleton wrote Boys in the Hood, and so I'm, let's see, Coogler did Fruitvale Station, so I want to direct, I think, my Fruitvale Station, my Boys in the Hood, my signature piece that will then launch the next chapter.
Understood. Yeah. Nice. What legacy do you wish to leave in this industry?
just hopefully a legacy of excellence. And they would say, hey, he was a good, honest man, and he was gifted, and definitely excellence was important. Art with integrity.
Yes.
That's what I would hope, that they'd be able to say he did art with integrity.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Mark, we do this every episode.
Okay.
We need to do this every episode. I remember. So you have to choose a table topic. Just choose any card.
Okay.
And you have to answer it. Of course, you chose the directions.
Okay.
Choose another card.
Okay. So maybe I should choose in the middle.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then turn it up.
Interesting card.
Okay. How do you measure success?
Yep.
Wow.
I know.
How do I because I have so much that I want to do, so I guess I can't measure it for me, but I think that I would measure success. I guess it starts with, what did you plan to do, and did it come to fruition or not? So I think that's what I would do. What did it work?
Yeah.
Did you get it done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever think wow, I have been and am in a position, and I've changed lives. You have literally been a part of changing people's lives, whether that be actors or crew or other members. Have you ever just do you feel that you have been a proponent of changing so many people's lives?
I don't think that I've ever maybe sat in that, but so many people come up to me and tell me that.
Yeah.
And I'm always really happy to hear it. But, because on a day-to-day, I'm just doing me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do what I do it in excellence, do it with integrity. And so when people do stop me and say, hey, Mark, do you remember back and at this point, there have been so many TV shows, so many plays, so many films that I don't always remember each moment, but I'm really happy that that I left a lot of people with a lot, because people did that for me, so I have to even hold back tears when I talk about Ralph Farquhar and Stan Lathan and Cedric the Entertainer and all these people, and Tyler Perry, who saw my talent and who said, hey, let's come over here and do this.
Yeah. You have been the secret weapon to me in so many different places. I think that so many people don't know how much your work has really affected, influenced people. The fact that in order to do the things and goals that a Tyler Perry may do, someone has to execute it, and you're the executor, So I think that I don't think people know how much work and how much influence your work has had on what they see and on their lives.
Well, I think that thank you for saying that. And it takes so many people. And one thing that I have done was, whenever I'm working for somebody, I play that position.
Yeah.
And so I've been whatever Tyler needs me to be, in that position. And now that's why I say, now I'm also looking to, mount a film, because that's really the passion too, is to write and direct and all that. Yeah.
You have so beautifully played that position, and I'm so thrilled and excited to see what's going to happen of you now stepping into the films that you're going to do and create.
I'm excited too. I'm excited too. And you have to, you have to come and see Route 187. I got to show it to you.
I can't wait. I have not seen it.
A sneak preview.
Let me just give you, I don't know if I can talk about a little insight. Mark, you write a lot of characters in your projects. This was I think it was maybe the pilot episode had the pilot had 56 characters or something like that.
It was a 4-episode pilot.
Yeah, okay, that's what it is.
But these characters will you kind of meet the characters for the season.
Yes.
But it is a lot, but it's funny because everybody when they see it go, oh, then you have to wait till you see it. You'll get it.
It.
On paper it may seem like a lot, but because of the story, yeah.
I just remember it would be I remember we were auditioning roles, and I was watching auditions for hours because there were like 85 roles in this 4-episode pilot. But I cannot wait to watch 187. It was a really exciting project.
It was exciting to shoot, and so yeah.
All right, well, I have some rapid fire questions,
okay.
and then we'll wrap you up.
All right.
Number 1, what's your dream actor or actress that you'd love to work with?
That's interesting. I'm probably supposed to say like Denzel Washington and Meryl Streep, and it'd be great to work with them. But there is an actor on Broadway who took over the role in Hamilton of Aaron Burr. Ooh. His name is Jared Dixon. Ooh. And the way he did that role, you asking me at a time where my friend and I, that we've seen him several times, we were like, hey, we got to write something for Jared Dixon. Like, he is incredible. Like, he brought such an honesty to that role. So,
nice.
that's who I would say right now. I'm
not familiar with him. I need to look him up now.
I've only seen him in Hamilton. I'm sure he has probably a long resume and has done a lot. Okay. But that's the role that I saw him in, but I mean, he knocked it out of the park. Aaron Burr is the guy that killed Hamilton, and so he's the bad guy.
Yes,
but he played him with such honesty and such humanity that you got him.
Yeah,
and that's a hard thing to do. Yeah, he's just a very, very gifted actor. Yeah.
Okay, all right. What's the first thing you do when you get on set?
Wow. I am a director who likes to definitely feel the set out. I'm going to definitely walk the set, and I got to feel it. When you go to film school and theater school, they try to get you to, as a director, write your blocking. Mm-hmm. It's never worked for me. Mm-hmm. Like, how am I going to block before? I guess these professors want you to be prepared, but that shit don't work for me. Mm-hmm. Like, how am I telling you where to go? I gotta be on set. I gotta feel the energy of the actor. I gotta feel the energy of the room, and then I can block it. I can't really block it on paper. And so I like to be in the set and feel the space. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A book or a play that changed your life?
The Secret.
Oh, the book, The Secret.
The book, The Secret.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that I feel is where everything in my life changed when I read The Secret, and just knowing that you can have whatever you want in life, and being optimistic, and being and having that. One of the greatest stories that I love about The Secret, I'll just say this really quickly, is that they talk a lot. Obviously, the premise of the book is that there are always people on this earth who have lived incredible lives, while 90% of the people have struggled and don't know that they can have an incredible life.
Yeah.
And so the reason that this 10% or whatever have this great life is because they know the secret.
Yeah.
So that's what the premise of the book is. And one of the things it says that's really interesting is that, there's a story about the genie, Aladdin and the genie, or Aladdin and the lamp.
Yeah.
And that the story got corrupted because the story is, as it is today, is that you have to rub the lamp and you get 3 wishes. But really, that's not God. That's not you don't have 3 wishes. You have as many wishes as you want.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as saying, I wish this.
Yes.
And you can have it. Yeah. But most of us don't know that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's good. Biggest pet peeve when either working on set in general or working with actors?
It's very difficult for me when the actor isn't studied enough to be able to take the note. Like in order for an actor to take a director's note, it really you have to know what you're doing. And so there are a lot of times when you have an actor, and it's not their fault sometimes, they're new, and they don't know how to take the note. You can say, hey, do it this way, or I'm looking for this, and they do it exactly the same way they did it the first time. And you can give that note again, and they'll do it exactly the same way. Yes. And it's because they don't know yet how to take that note. They don't have that emotional, whatever we call it, the emotional war chest, where they're like, oh, he wants some of this and some of this. I'm going to use this and I'm going to use this. I'm going to use these experiences, and now I'm going to give him another performance of it. They don't know how to do that yet.
Yeah, that's good. And just for fun, if your life was turned into a musical, what would the title of it be? Wow.
If if my life was turned into a musical, what would it be? Wow. I wish to be young, gifted, and black.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Let's give it up for Mark A. Swinton.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Mark, you have personally been such an advocate for me and my career. We've been working together since I was a casting assistant. So it means so much for you taking out the time just to come here.
It meant so much to be asked, Rhavynn. And I'm just so proud of you and all of everything. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Shout out to Mark. Yes. Make sure that you watch, subscribe, like, comment, and share, and we will see you on the next episode. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning into the Act Up podcast. If something in this episode lit a fire in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with another actor or creator or another dreamer. This show is powered by Rad GPT, The Break-In. This is my digital audition prep service that helps you prep like a pro and perform with purpose. Head to www.radgpt.org to start your own scene prep breakthrough. And if you want to keep this conversation going, sign up for my newsletter, Beyond the Backdrop. It's where we talk about the business and the becoming behind the work. I am Rhavynn Drummer, your host, and remember, please take flight.